Today, I'm going to be talking about how the brain forms habits. A habit is something that you do often and regularly, sometimes without knowing that you are doing it. We often think of habits as something that we've done so often that they become automatic or subconscious, such as biting your nails, checking social media, or driving. Habits are a big part of who we are. What we do habitually makes up a lot of what we do entirely. It's estimated that up to 70% of our behavior is made up of habitual behavior. If you take the same route to school or work, you likely have that pathway burned into your brain. You can probably walk it without paying attention. Habits are built in a similar way. New neural pathways are built when you repeat a behavior, and the more that a brain circuit fires, the easier it becomes for our brain to do whatever that circuit controls without conscious thought. Habits have three key ingredients: a cue, a behavior, and a reward. This is sometimes called the habit loop. A cue is a stimulus that prompts action. This could be being in a certain location, smelling a certain smell, seeing a certain person, or feeling a particular way. A behavior, response, or routine is the action itself. And the reward is what follows the action and perpetuates the cycle. Rewarding a behavior can actually create a craving. This is what makes habits so strong. When an action is taken that leads to a reward, special neurons in the brain release a neurochemical called dopamine. Once a habit and a reward are tied together in our brain, those neurons start firing before you do the behavior itself. This is what causes cravings. This is why we want popcorn when we go to the movies, why we pick up bad habits when we see other people doing them, and why habits are so hard to break. The brain developed with this reward system because it helped us survive in the early history of humankind. Habits were beneficial because they helped us survive. Food releases dopamine, so we eat more food. But now habits still lead us for those dopamine hits, but there's a larger variety of ways to get that, so it can lead to unhealthy behavior. When initially learning a new behavior, the control resides in the associative network. The associative network refers to the interconnected regions in the brain that are involved in learning, memory, and complex thought processes. The prefrontal cortex plays a crucial role in this network. As an action is repeated over and over again, it becomes more automatic, and the control shifts to the sensory motor network. The sensory motor network is responsible for integrating sensory information and coordinating motor responses. The striatum plays a crucial role in this network. Once an action has been repeated enough, the striatum releases chemicals that inhibit the complex thinking part of your brain. This is your brain being efficient. By turning down your brain's thinking requirements for certain actions, it's free to think about other things. The basal ganglia also play a big role in habit formation. The basal ganglia is a group of nuclei near the base of the brain. These structures play a major role in coordinating all kinds of voluntary movements such as walking, running, talking, and eating. Since movements are most effective when well learned or habitual, the basal ganglia are also very involved in habit formation. Therefore, the prefrontal cortex is critical in complex thought, and the striatum is critical in motor planning and execution, and the basal ganglia is critical in both. The basal ganglia are connected to both the prefrontal cortex and the striatum and help them communicate to one another. Certain habits appear to be formed through the interplay of two distinct basal ganglia pathways. One of these pathways is associative, which constantly collects information for reaching goals. The other pathway is more automatic. This route takes information from the first pathway and includes them in a repertoire of stored habits. These habits are then available when cued by a specific situation. Thank you for listening.